Welcome to My Community is Durham. I'm Morgan Hoffman.
I'm Mark Zukanin, and every week Morgan and I will venture out into the Durham community to meet your neighbours.
The creative, the unsung heroes, and people just like yourself
who make Durham region such a vibrant community to live in.
Today we're at the Oshawa Valley Botanical Gardens, a beautiful place perfect for a relaxing walk. And we'll also visit another garden.
We'll meet a student who doesn't let his disability get in the way for his love of music.
And later we'll take to the baseball field to see what it really takes to make it to the big league.
Barb and Ron have been married for 50 years. The key to their success, a shared passion for gardening. They've transformed their backyard in Whitby to their version of paradise.
Let me show you our garden, Morgan.
Barb, your garden is gorgeous.
Thank you.
What is it about gardening you enjoy so much?
It's very relaxing and very rewarding, and beautiful display in the summer.
Now, I know earlier you were telling me it's addictive. What is so addictive about gardening?
It's so relaxing, and you get lost in it, and it's just so peaceful.
Well, looking at this garden in particular, this area here, are there any flowers that are your favorite?
I love them all, but I love my magnolia trees and daylilies. I just love all flowers, really.
It looks like so much work is put into gardening, especially with these gardens. How long has this been in the works for?
About 15 or 20 years. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, take me around to the other gardens.
Okay. So Morgan, this is our rose garden, my husband's favorite.
Okay.
And there are mostly hybrid tea roses here, 20 altogether. This one here is Parkwood, and it's named after the Sam McLaughlin house in Oshawa.
Oh, great. Did you get them from there?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Awesome. Now, they look a little different than the other roses.
Yeah, they're a grandiflora. They have a little smaller flower than the hybrid teas.
Now, are roses a little trickier to take care of? Because I always notice they're in their own separate garden or their own separate bed.
They are kind of finicky, but they're quite easy. They like to have air and good air circulation. So it's nice to have them in a single bed by themselves. They give a better show.
Well, they're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Barb, one of my favorite things about your garden is the sound of the water. It's so relaxing.
It is.
Well, tell me about it. How did this get started?
Well, I love water as well as flowers and nature. My husband built this about 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, there he is working away.
Yeah, he's cleaning the algae.
Now, you have some plants as well in the pond?
We have hyacinths and canna lilies and water lettuce.
You have water lettuce?
Yes.
Can you eat water lettuce?
No. Now, Morgan, this was our shaded area of our yard, so we decided hostas would be a good choice for this area.
Which makes sense. Now, I know there are so many different types of hostas.
Yes.
How many do you have in your garden?
We must have about 40 different varieties. I've never stopped to count them.
Yeah. There's a kitty cat going up the tree.
Yes, that's Jack.
Now, I see over here you have a vegetable garden.
Yes. This is our vegetable garden, which my husband Ron takes care of.
So we need to get Ron down here. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. Is it okay if I come into your vegetable garden?
Come on in. Come on in.
Well, what are you working on there?
I'm doing a bit of weeding to clean it up and keep it under control.
Well, what kind of vegetables are in this garden?
Well, I have beans. I have some cucumbers here. There's more beans with green onions.
Okay.
And then I have my tomato plant.
So how much during the day, how much time are you spending out here in the garden?
In the vegetable garden, I don't spend any more than 20 minutes a day because it's basically let it grow.
Yep.
Let the veggies ripen.
So what is it about working in the garden that you like so much?
Just watching everything grow, and then when the tomatoes are ready, eating the vegetables. And it's nice to go out and get them fresh.
Yes. And tomatoes are your favorite?
Tomatoes are my favorite. I eat them every day.
Oh, looks good. Awesome. Well, thank you. I don't want to step on anything. Over the years, Barb and Ron have spent hours reshaping and perfecting their luscious gardens. And it's all worth it when, after a long day, they can admire the beauty of nature in a peaceful atmosphere they created all on their own.
Whether it's vegetables or forsythias, gardening has a calming effect to it.
And it's also a lot of hard work. Barb told me she spent years reshaping her backyard.
Wow, well, I guess a truly passionate gardener is never satisfied.
Coming up, an environmentally friendly ride. Imagine not being able to walk, talk, or easily express yourself. Cerebral palsy is a physical disability that affects the body's development, something Marshall Hamann lives with every day.
Meet Marshall, an 18-year-old student. He has cerebral palsy. It confines him to a wheelchair and takes away his ability to talk.
He always desires and tries to do everything that everybody else does. So at first I thought he was in denial that he even had a disability, but he chose not to embrace his disability. He just went, well, I'm going to do it. So make it happen, mother.
While Marshall is a very optimistic young man, his birth wasn't what doctors expected.
There was birth trauma, so he actually hit the air and shut down. So they had to jumpstart his heart, and when they jumpstart the heart, it's a domino effect in the body. So the lungs shut down, the bladder shuts down, the bowel shut down, the kidney shut down, and they give them more drugs to make everything start running again. And do you want to go with your power chair? I don't know what kind of, well, if you go here, it'd be too hard for people to, push it through the forest power chair. Because of that ambition within him, I've always pushed him really, really hard. Harder than most professionals think I should. And now that he's 18, he's telling me to back off, Mom.
Marshall doesn't let his disability get in the way of learning new things. Still, the idea of high school was a little daunting.
The transition to high school was difficult for him because the school is so huge that maybe he had one or two friends in a class, maybe, and now like hardly anyone. And high school is high school. Everybody gets into their hormonal mode and they have their own little groups, and yeah, I think Marshall feels very isolated now.
Tough transition coming to high school. Coming from a small, nurturing environment all of a sudden to a large high school. So it was difficult because he was no longer just the center of attention in that sense. Everybody didn't know him. Some students felt he was sort of possibly could have been development delayed, but he's not. He's bright.
Once everyone got to know him, they noticed Marshall was quite ambitious.
A day with Marshall is always an adventure. Never 2 days the same.
We enjoy just about every day and have our challenges, of course.
Marshall is unique, that he gets around on his own, which is unusual.
Marshall has also made an impact on his classmates.
If you have a disability and Marshall has a disability, we understand a lot more when we get connected on a deeper level, right?
Oh my God. He's adjusted quite well, and him and I have a very good rapport together, and he fits in with the school and the other students as well.
It might take you weeks to learn what exactly saying, like yes and no is pretty clear, but I can look at him right now and be like, oh, you're mad at me because of this? Of course I know.
When he's tired or grumpy or just like any other kid, he'll let us know. And he does get tired sometimes because every time he communicates with the computer and just tells us stuff, it takes many, many clicks of his head just to get a sentence in.
Technology not only helps Marshall communicate, it also fulfills his love for music. Marshall even writes his own music, and his mother loves to play it. Marshall's story is inspiring people every day. His life is a prime example to why anyone can do what they put their mind to whether or not they struggle with a disability.
Marshall Hauman is such an inspiration to all of us.
The thing that surprised me the most about him is how independent he is. He can write his own music and he presents in front of hundreds of people. It's truly amazing.
Nowadays, we're all more conscious about the well-being of our planet, finding different methods of transportation, all to decrease our carbon footprint.
Good, but what if you have achy knees or if you don't want to show up to work covered in sweat? The Durham E-Bike Association has the answer for that.
These people love their e-bikes, and each one of them has their own reason for riding.
For me, I can't pedal. Since I had a knee injury 6 years ago, and I'm unable to pedal a normal bike. So this gives me a way to get out in the fresh air and to get around, but without being able to use a normal bicycle. I used to bicycle a lot, but can't anymore.
The freedom, yeah, it's like when you're 8 years old, you got your first bike, and you could just go.
Well, what I love about my e-bike is it's allowed me to hold off buying a second car for a while. Bought it 2 summers ago. The cost of the bike and helmet and probably all the electricity that I've used was less than a year of insurance on my Jeep.
Well, it's not my toy. It's my means of getting to work. I'm serious about getting to work. My teenage son's daughter have no interest in riding it, to a certain extent because it feels like a toy. Sometimes when I'm riding it and it's going really slow, it feels like, you know, maybe not a toy but a wheelchair. But for the most part, it's a very practical way of getting around town.
So why don't you show me this e-bike?
Okay, well, first thing I'd like to point out is when you, a proper legal e-bike has this sticker on it. It explains that it meets the requirements of the regulations. The power is limited, the speed is limited. That's just evidence. Riding along the street, you can't tell whether it's too powerful or too fast.
Of course, and that's for your own safety as well, right?
As well, right? And underneath here we have the battery pack. In this particular case, I can unlock the battery. It's locked into place. I can unlock it. I can remove it, take it inside to charge it. And then back here at the wheel here, we've got the power. And
fire her up.
I'll just fire her up here. I'll show you. The power, the motor is actually on the is in here. If you imagine, it's very much like a ceiling fan,
right? Or
it's like an inside-out motor. The part that moves is on the outside. The part that stands still is on the inside.
Very
interesting. So I'll just start it going like that.
Oh yeah, I see that.
And it makes about that much noise.
It's a very, very quiet vehicle.
It is. When you're sitting on top of it, you don't hear all that scratching noise. I hear all this.
These brakes on her.
It's got brakes. All of the cowling up here, that's just sort of covers it in. One of the interesting things when you ride it is that if you're riding in a light rain, the rain actually splashes outwards, so it doesn't, you don't get wet. I can wear just a rain jacket and only the top of my legs get
Another
wet.
advantage to your e-bike.
Yep.
Thank you very much for showing me this.
You're welcome.
I love my e-bike.
A ride on Audrey's fiery red machine could not be passed up.
Good ride.
Bad to the bone. E-bikes come in all shapes and sizes. Conway Dobbs enjoys the sleek and laid-back design with a tongue twister of a name.
This is called a recumbent tadpole trike. I'm 83. Been riding for about 5 years. I was more interested in boats before, and I average, well, last year about 1,200 miles. This year I'll average about coming close to 2,000 miles.
With the e-bikes, there's no license, no insurance, and no gas.
That was only for loaners, not for keepers.
They look like so much fun to ride, and besides, e-bikes are safe, cheap to own and maintain, and great for the environment.
After a couple hours of charging, you're ready to go. With the wind blowing in your face, you get that sense of freedom when riding an e-bike.
Hey, there goes one now, hey!
Wow, that's
They're
really,
so quiet,
yeah.
do you notice that? Coming up, how Star Avenue was made famous.
It's all in the family at Starburger. Chris Pianitis opened up a 50s-style diner. Now with his two sons calling the shots, Chris tells us how he really feels.
When residents of Whitby think of a juicy burger, they think of Starburger. With a rich history, it's practically a landmark in Durham region.
I'm very proud this restaurant is a landmark.
It's just a burger, right? It's nothing magical or nothing. I think it's the fact that it's been here for 30 years. Starburger is well known.
I started as a dishwasher, and all of my life I spent in a work for other people about 6-7 years. Then after, I figured why not do it for myself.
When your father owns a restaurant, there's always a part-time job waiting for you. Growing up, Stephen and Danny spent most of their childhood flipping burgers behind the grill.
Starburger was purchased by my father back in '74. He had a restaurant in Ajax called the Penn Center Restaurant, so he had both of them on the go. So we ended up leasing this out to somebody. Back in '91, we took it over again. The building was empty, the last tenants just left, so we reopened it again as Starburger.
Sometimes, yeah, I have to keep them on a right track, you know, yell a little bit, and let them know I'm still around, you know.
And we take our friends back there. We'd go there and our friends would work there. Like as soon as we were old enough to work, we'd all go there and wash dishes. So it was pretty cool. It was a good way to grow up. Mind you, we worked every day. Like I mean, the restaurant was open 6-7 days a week. So there wasn't a cottage life for us.
Brothers share a special bond. But when two brothers share the responsibilities of owning a restaurant, well, they must work together to keep that bond from breaking.
We don't work together. We're on opposite shifts, so that's why we get along.
When we first opened, it was like we had a couple screaming matches. But again, blood is thicker than water. We after that, it was like, you know what? Thank God we're brothers, because it's hard to run a business like this if you're a stranger with you. And my mother's always saying, oh, you know, you guys are brothers, you gotta stick together, you gotta be together. They like the music, because we play some old music from shows that we grew up with. The 50s style just came from just a burger place, because we were a burger place. It's been a burger place for 30 years, and we just thought go with the concept.
So what's the secret behind their famous burgers?
I think it's because we make everything from scratch. Like we don't buy them made. We grind it, we mix it, we have our own spice, and we make them ourselves. So we make them every day. So I think that's what it is. We don't buy them manufactured and frozen. And I think that comes through in the long run.
With Stephen and Danny running the family business, Chris gets to watch the dedication and honesty he passed down to his sons every day.
I'm very proud, very happy.
Starburger is located at Star Avenue and Brock Street in Whitby.
Which is actually where the name originated. They figured Star Avenue, Starburger, why not? Okay, Mark, quiz time, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who is the only Canadian baseball player to be a part of the World Series winning Blue Jays in 1992 and now lives in Durham region?
I have no idea, but are we gonna find out?
We're gonna find out.
Rob Butler loves baseball. Why? Because in '92, he was part of the World Series winning Blue Jays. Now he runs a baseball academy to share his love of the game.
Initially, we started the camps first in 2000 after I retired from professional baseball. And it was just something that I've always wanted to do, bring back to the community.
It wasn't easy for a Canadian boy to make it into the major league.
Well, for us as kids growing up, we only played house league. You know, there was no opportunities, there was no camps. There really wasn't anybody who knew the game of baseball at a high level that could have really helped us and guided us to become major leaguers.
It's his mission to give these kids an opportunity he never had.
There was no learning the game, the little parts of the game. Like what these kids are learning from our own experiences and what was passed on to us, we're just passing along to them.
Second baseman Andrew Giacchetto loves what Rob and his other coaches have to teach.
They always try and encourage you to do stuff. I'm always learning. If I'm in a little bit, if I'm going 0-3, the coach will come to me saying, "What are you doing wrong?" Tells me what I'm doing wrong, and I get a base hit. I'm not afraid of the ball. I love to dive. One of my funnest parts of baseball is diving. Ground balls is very fun, and I like to turn double plays as well.
Ben Tiernan is a force to be reckoned with behind the dish, and he knows what the most important part of the game is.
Having fun is probably the most important thing. They're always enthusiastic, they're always helping me, and they never get mad. They always lift you up when you're down.
Brendan Ing is a powerhouse out in right field, and when he steps up to the plate.
I always get a good jump on the ball. I always get it in quick. I back up my center fielder if a ball's hit to him, and I back up the plays. Feels good, you know, you're right in the action kind of. It's like if there are runners in scoring position or something, it's up to you. And when you drive them in, you of course feel good.
The most basic pitch is the fastball, and Nolan Pennell shows it's not as easy as it looks.
You come back, you can go over your head, or you can just leave your glove here. You turn your foot, and you bring your knee up to become balanced. And then as you go forward, you stride as far as you can, and you're here so you're balanced still. And then follow through, so your leg comes here, and you're ready for the throw back.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this a try. So I start like this.
Yep.
Correct? I can bring my glove up over my head.
Yeah, but your foot has to go backward.
Sorry, show me this again. So I gotta.
You have to come, and your foot comes back. You twist your foot. You come up. You stride, and you throw, and your leg comes through.
Okay. Great. So now I'm gonna give this a try. Ready for this? I'll try this again. Well, thanks for showing me how to pitch. To Rob Butler, there is no greater joy than knowing that his camp works.
History shows that it works. We've got, well, this year alone we had 6 kids out of our camps get drafted to the Major League Draft. There's hundreds of kids in college ball now. And there's kids that just love playing baseball. You know, we have house leaguers that go back and, you know, they may get to play a little bit of rep ball, or they're just better house league players.
Come on, Christian, this strike zone just keeps getting smaller, man.
They're all balls.
I'll give up.
It's always a challenge for a Canadian athlete to get noticed by scouts.
But Rob Butler offers them a venue where they can hone their skills and become better players.
For more information about My Community is Durham, or if you have a great story idea, please visit rogerstv.com.
I don't know about you, Mark, but this is really relaxing.
It really is. The wind is blowing and the water is flowing.
Did you just rhyme on purpose?
I did.
Did you know that the Oshawa Valley Botanical Gardens has over 1,100 acres of parkland?
The original concept was brought up in 1999, but it officially opened in 2001.
With their very first garden full of peonies.
And now they have over 275 plants.
The gardens first start to bloom in May and they hit their peak in June, and they're absolutely gorgeous.
Thanks for watching today. I'm Mark Suknanen.
And I'm Morgan Hoffman, and my community is Durham.
And my community is Durham too.
I love that breeze.